In those slick roads. A lot of people on social media asked why more drivers weren't using chains. KGW investigator Kristen Severance is here to verify when chains are required and what happens if drivers don't use them.
Yes, so we can verify the chains are required during certain weather situations like the other night on I-84. But how are drivers supposed to know? Well, we can verify drivers are notified by the flashing chain requirement signs activated during hazardous weather. Our sources for this story, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office and the Oregon State Police. So if those signs are flashing and you don't have chains on, you could be cited. We can verify troopers don't check every vehicle through a checkpoint system during a chains requirement period. Our sources said much like DUI checkpoints, the forced stopping of a mass of drivers would violate a search and seizure clause of the Oregon Constitution. And they don't have the manpower for active enforcement of chain requirements at all times. They will, however, enforce the requirement after something like a crash or pileup. So it's more of a reactive situation. And we also know that at least 5 drivers were cited for not having chains on I-84 on Tuesday. Do you have something you want us to verify? Please let us know. Email us at kgwverify@kgw.com. Dan Laurel?
Yeah, I mean, 5 people were cited. We could tell from the video that we've been running that a lot more than 5 people had no chains. But good insight there, Kristen. Thank you.